What's up, everybody? AJ here, host of the Madden NFL 12 podcast. And this is an excerpt from this week's podcast, which you can download right now on iTunes. Be sure to subscribe, leave us a comment, and rate it for us. Enjoy. All right, Gibbs, you just wrote a blog recently for our website.
Blog.
Yeah, a video blog for us talking about how to set up the delayed bump and run. Why don't you explain that to us a little bit?
Yeah, sure thing. So delayed bump and run works directly off of any type of press coverage in Madden. So if you take a look at defensive backs or really any defensive player in Madden NFL 12, you're going to see that they have an individual press rating. And what that's going to do is jam wide receivers at the line of scrimmage within 5 yards, which is legally allowed in the NFL. So when you see and call press coverage in the game, you'll see the defensive backs actually kind of line up directly in front of the wide receivers and tight ends. And what happens is it's a tell to the offense that, hey, bump and run might be coming here. And that gives them a read of what to do, of how to attack that. Maybe they're going to use motion to beat the bump and run or do some type of technique to get around it. So what the delay bump and run is going to do is it's going to disguise that you're calling bump and run coverage. And what that is going to result is confusion for your opponent and hopefully mistakes, which can lead to interceptions, fumbles, and things like that can help out your defense.
So actually, how do you perform this delayed bump and run?
So there's a couple ways, but one of the easiest and best ways that we showed in the video, which you can find on the EA Sports Madden NFL Facebook fan page, you can call any play that is man-to-man that has the label of press in the description. So the play that we used was from the 46 normal formation, which you can find in the 46 defensive guide in the game itself. And the play was called two-man press from 46 normal. And what we did is we used show blitz, and that's all you had to do to get the delay bump and run.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and this is something like delayed bump and run isn't something that's necessarily in the game. It's something that Gibbs and Farles have identified that you can actually create and run a different type of NFL scheme in our game.
That's correct. And really the best part about it is your main focus is always to try and confuse your opponent. Because if you get them thinking one thing and then hit them elsewhere, that's when you start winning games. And once you start applying delay bump and run with bump and run, and then on top of it, as we showed in the video, how to bring pressure from both sides of the line of scrimmage, that's when it gets a lot of fun. I love Madden because I love the chess match. And I get excited, I get fired up for games. And when you start getting a chess match with your opponent, that's when Madden is the best. And that's what I love about the game.
So with the game, so give us two examples here for each one. What is like two offensive plays or fronts that you would run this type of defense against? And what are, if you know somebody on the reverse side is coming out in this type of delayed bump and run, what would you run against it to beat it?
So first and foremost, the first thing I think about is to call upon quick passing. And quick passing, what I consider that is a play exactly to beat bump and run coverage. And the first play I think of, I've used this play over the past 3 years, and I call it my binky because in certain situations I always rely on it. And it's from the full house formation, and it's called wide receiver double shake. And the receiver you want to target is your left bumper receiver on 360 and your L1 receiver on PlayStation 3. And this is a snap, drop back, like 1 quick second and throw. This play is good for about 3 to 4 yards, and it's a play that's going to really negate the bump and run coverage altogether. Another play that they could focus on is from single back big. It's in the Detroit Lions playbook, and it's called Lions Smash. And what this is the two outside wide receivers in single back big. They're on little comeback routes, and what you want to do with those two routes is motion that receiver from the far left or far right, motion them in and let them go about maybe 2 yards, snap, and deliver a quick pass to them. What that's going to do is break the bump and run coverage and not allow the defender to get a bump on the receiver, and he gets a free release upfield.
Gotcha. And what are the two sets that you would run this coverage against to beat it? So meaning that if you were, what are the two situations that you would recommend running the delayed bump and run against?
If I'm going to bring pressure or like late game situations, I always like to kind of save my best plays for maybe a big 3rd and 11 late in the game, or it's they're driving to try and get a tying score, and that's when I like to unveil my secret special plays. I call them the X Factor play that you keep it in your back pocket for a rainy day. So late game situations, make sure you have this busted out because that's when you're going to confuse your opponent. They haven't seen it all game, and then all of a sudden you take out the delay pump and run with some pressure, and they're in a world of pain.
Yeah, that's the thing I think a lot of people forget is they find these plays, and it's like you'll watch an NFL game or a college game, and you'll see a team break out one play, and you're like, oh my goodness, I haven't seen that before, but it only happens once. And then there's guys who find these types of plays, and they want to run them every single play online, and that's why it doesn't work. And to this point, Gibbs, what is your record right now in Madden 12? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people listening to you talk right now, and they're wondering, is this guy really good, or is this just another guy they found off the street who's talking about Madden? So,
Yeah.
How good are you?
In the ranked games right now, I've played about 30 ranked games. I'm 25-5. Unfortunately, 3 disconnect losses, so that's a little upsetting on that part. But you got to deal with that. And another part is I've played in the Virgin Gaming website, the EA Sports Arena. I've done pretty well over there. I have a record of 15-2. So those are all series tournaments that you're playing out there in the sports arena. So I've done pretty well there. Playing a lot of leagues all across the internet. So I'm doing very well this year. I played against Farles a couple times, and I smashed him this past week on the Ustream Monday Night Football game, and really put the screws to him there.
That was just an excerpt from this week's Madden NFL 12 podcast. Be sure to subscribe and download the full version, which is totally free on iTunes.